Yeah, good.
It's on this time.
It's on the side. Oh God, I don't know how we ever got that. That was silly. All right, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Cap Physical Therapy Podcast. Wasn't just gonna redo that one.
It's been a while. We're out of practice.
Yeah.
But that definitely should be one of our New Year's resolutions. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
That we should make this more routine like we were doing before.
Yeah.
Do you have any other New Year's resolutions? Is this something you even do?
It is not something I do. I've done it in the past. Tried like the dry January thing and lose weight. But I'm not really into New Year's resolutions.
I remember two things that you said to me when we first met. One of them being that the office was going to open relatively soon, and it took forever after I started that it even opened.
Correct.
I remember that. And number two is that you and Corey were going to go on a dry January or a dry month in general.
Yeah.
And I've known you for 30 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it happened in 1 month yet.
It has not. I get like 2 weeks into it, and then and then life happens, and 3 kids happens, and
do you think that you drank more now that you have kids, or drink less?
No, less.
Really?
Yeah.
But people say that they tend to drink more when they have kids because of the stress. And
yeah,
stuff
but
like
it's
that.
not like I don't have the same amount of like opportunities to do it, and then like I don't like to drink in front of them. So it's like after they're in bed, and then it's like you also have to be like the responsible adult. What if something happens in the middle of the night? Like, so it's definitely a lot less than you think.
That's something that I've seen a lot on social media where these parents don't want to drink in front of their kids.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but my dad, when I was growing up, he would always drink in front of me. And I don't think that has negatively affected me.
Yeah.
As you know, I drink mocktails.
Mocktails, yep. Big mocktail guy.
So I don't know. Like, do you think that will influence at all?
I don't know. I don't think so. To me, it's just like if I'm with them and I have a beer, like it's not. That's like whatever. It's really like, to what extent are you drinking?
That's true.
If it's a beer or two a night and they see it,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem.
But they're seeing you get
if
wasted.
It's like behavior associated with it, like I don't feel comfortable ever going there with that.
I get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Also I had a patient once tell me that she had like a glass of wine with dinner once, and then something happened to her kid and she had to go to the hospital.
Wow.
And they like questioned her a lot about it, and she was like, oh my God, I had a glass of wine. Like I was eating dinner. They didn't even think, okay, what happens when my kid hits his head against the fireplace and now we have to go. So, that story has always like stuck with me, and, you always just, never taking it too far.
I get that.
Never taking it too far.
You know what that story reminds me of? Like, obviously most patients know that now that I'm a dad.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Anything that like you hear stories wise about someone else's life experiences involving their kids, it makes you like think like, I see all these videos, I hear all these stories about people with their kids and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't want to do a lot of stuff anymore because of that reason. Which is insane because you never know like how it feels until you're actually in a situation.
Of course. I think I've told you this, I've talked about this concept of like, when I was younger, I was afraid of dying. And then I got to a certain age, I was no longer afraid of dying. And now that I have kids, I'm afraid of dying again.
Yes.
It's like this, the thoughts of like, I know this is like a little morbid, but
it is a little bit morbid.
I just think about that. Like, you become a dad and like, your whole perspective on everything changes.
Yes.
Like, even once I became a physical therapist, a couple PTs told me these horror stories about like tearing their ACLs and all of these issues from skiing, and like I'm
Yeah.
petrified to go skiing, and it's like now my kids want to like do all these snow things, and I'm
Mhm.
like, what if I tear my ACL? Or like, you can't live life like that.
Yeah. I mean, you said that you want to go snowboarding, and we had to go with Mark.
Yeah, we got to go, Mark.
Do you feel like you're gonna be good at it?
I feel like I'll pick it up relatively easy. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm like, I need to know the rules as like
I don't think there are any rules. It's like if
I'm
I
gonna
were to
be.
put you on a
It's not
skateboard.
even like I'm nervous about falling. I'm like, what is like the etiquette while you're out there? I'm gonna be more worried about like who's coming down behind me, and
Yeah.
like how to navigate everything, like getting on and off the lift. I see videos of people
Oh,
failing at. I'm like, it's all of that stuff that bothers me more than
I,
like the actual execution of it.
the first time, if we do make this happen as like a little guys trip, I would be willing to bet on this that the first time you get off that lift, you fall, because no one knows what to expect. Because the first time I got off of it, I immediately fell on my butt.
Oh, that's great.
It's because like you're not used to like being on ice without your feet. Because now you're on ice on the board.
Got it.
So like it just catches you off guard and just like,
oh god.
And you never realize like how hard snow really feels when you're falling into it at 20, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Because you would think like if someone were to throw a snowball at you or something like that, it doesn't really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But when you fall in snowboarding, it hurts.
It hurts. Your body will feel it the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been one of my other apprehensions, like having a bad back. It's like, am I going to go and like this going to like knock me out? I'd be nervous about that.
I'm never going to carry you down the hill. You're going to have to call ski
No,
patrol.
you and Mark, you're both big guys. You got me. I
Call
got
ski patrol.
Ski patrol. Oh, God, that would be so embarrassing. I couldn't handle that.
But you said that you had that experience before in baseball, right?
I did.
Was that embarrassing?
That was embarrassing, yes. I'll tell you what made it embarrassing. Was I got injured. I fell down. I'm on the ground in excruciating pain, and they immediately like took me and helped me off the field onto the side.
Yeah.
And resumed playing like that. The ambulance comes, drives onto the field.
Yeah.
They're still like mid-play. They stop. The ambulance gets to the side. They keep playing while they're loading me into the ambulance. It was like the game went on without any like. If you watch like a football game and a guy's down on the ground, they stop the play. The people, not that I expected that. It was just.
But that's the etiquette.
I guess there was like no injury. It was like as if I was inconvenienced in the game.
Yes.
That's what made it feel embarrassing. Like kind of like as I was thinking about it.
I think it could be like also on the level that you're at. Like if you were the MLB, everyone's watching that singular game. Everyone's watching the players individually.
Yeah.
If you got hurt on that stage, it's different.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been injured playing a sport or?
I was when I did track, I did hurt my knee in the middle of a race. But with track is a little bit different because you would have to like severely injure yourself that you can't just like walk the rest of the race.
Yeah.
So the etiquette is like you always try to finish out whatever it is. And I only did the 100 meters, so to walk it took like 30 seconds probably. So yeah, I don't really have that same experience like when they're being carted off a field or something like that. But I can definitely see that might be embarrassing.
Have you ever been to one of your like lifting competitions, and somebody gets seriously hurt? Like tears a pec or tears a quad or like.
I haven't seen it in person.
No.
But you see videos, and it's very hard for me to watch those videos because it makes you think that like it can happen.
It's real. It makes it real, right?
Yes.
Like, oh wow, this is like worst case scenario. This is what happens.
Like I can watch like these football players. I mean, God forbid they get injured, but it's much easier for me to watch them get injured because I don't play football.
Yeah.
Whereas if I did, I would be hesitant to watch
it. That's a good point.
Then it's always in the back of your mind.
Yeah. When I was younger, I remember seeing videos of baseball pitchers throwing the ball and like their elbow like exploding or like dislocating or catastrophic things, and then like you're playing and it's like in the back of your mind like, I'm gonna throw this curveball. Is my elbow gonna explode? Like it like never happens.
But you think that people are
But
thinking that in the middle of a throw?
no,
I don't think
no,
you can be.
no. Once you start playing, all that stuff goes. You just focus on the game and
So
playing.
that's something I was also thinking about recently. Where, so now that I'm trying to get back to where I was, like while I'm working out, sometimes recently, like I'll get into my head more than before. So like that expression, like I think it's bronze over brains.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now it feels like brains over bronze.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking about what if I get hurt? Now what if I can't help at home,
Mm-hmm.
etc. like that. Were you ever playing a sport and then you couldn't get out of your head and you were only focused on the possibility of getting injured or like you're not doing something correctly?
I think that so the baseball injury where I got carted off the field.
What happened, by the way, on that one?
It was the first pitch of the season that I saw. I swung the bat and I felt a pop in my back and immediately pain down my leg. I started running to first base. My leg was like giving out underneath me and I just like collapsed to the floor.
Did you get to first base?
I did not get to first base.
Oh man.
Yeah, because it was like we were using wood bats.
Yeah.
So the bat broke and my back broke. Like that's how I always like pictured it. So that was the first game of the season, and it took like a month for my back to recover. So once I got back out there, I was like afraid to swing the bat.
Yeah,
I was
that's
afraid.
What I mean.
Yeah, but it was like sometimes injuries can be things that are recurrent, and sometimes they could just be fluke. You just happen to move the wrong way.
Yeah.
You could play your sport for the rest of your life and never do that again.
Yeah.
So that's something we talk to patients about. Like
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah. The whole concept, I just had this conversation the other day of, if you treat yourself like glass, you will break like glass.
Yes.
And our bodies are more resilient. But sometimes we're in the moment. And in the moment, all we could kind of think about is where we are, what just happened. Oh my God, is this going to happen again?
Yeah.
And, most of the time, that's not the reality.
Yeah.
That you start talking about chronic pain situations in what we treat, then it's a different ball game.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Love talking about sports. Let's kind of transition to fantasy football.
Okay.
So this was your first year doing fantasy football.
It was definitely fun.
I
would definitely do it again. Everyone that said like their experience with fantasy football, definitely next year I want to be in more than one league.
Okay.
Because then it makes it more fun. As like this year, it was my first year doing it. I still made it to the playoffs, but a lot of my players got hurt in the beginning, and I think it would have done a lot better if that didn't happen.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of injuries, you can't prevent injuries from happening.
Correct.
Right. So if it does, it's very unfortunate, and then when it does, it kind of knocks you back so far.
Yeah. But then you start thinking about drafting.
Yeah.
So it's like who is maybe potentially prone to injury or has had injuries in the past. Like that's going to be the consideration now in your draft strategy.
Yes.
And then your bench, how deep you're drafting.
Yeah.
Those things matter. So for people who don't know, we have a fantasy football league here at Cap Physical Therapy. It's a mixture of staff and patients and my wife. Paige does it. I kind of feel bad for Paige.
How did you do?
I did good. I wasn't thrilled with my draft. I lost the first 2 games and won the third game by 1 point.
Yeah.
And I didn't think my season was going to go well. And then I kind of turned a corner and finished in first place for the regular season, made it to the championship.
Okay.
Lost in what I thought was a close game.
I think it was a close game.
It was close.
It came down to the last quarter.
It came down to the last quarter of the last game on Monday. So, prior to that day, I had an 87% chance of winning. But Sunday night, and then Terry McLaurin did horrible.
But that's how you want to go out, I feel like. I don't want, like, if I ever do lose, I don't want to be blown out.
Yeah.
Right? That makes you feel really bad about whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you lose in the last quarter like that,
Yeah.
it was a good game. It was a good week.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want it to be a competitive game. I've been doing this for the past maybe like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing it. You have to have multiple leagues. Like going back to what you were just saying, you have to be in multiple leagues. I was in 3 leagues this year, made the playoffs in 2 out of 3. If I just had that one where I didn't make it, I don't know. It would have just made the whole thing a little bit more upsetting.
Yeah.
Not making the playoffs.
Well, speaking of the playoffs, we are entering Super Bowl season, and we do have Super Bowl boxes.
That's right.
If anyone is interested.
Yeah.
But by the time this video goes up, it might be sold out. And we also have brackets, but that also
the brackets start this Saturday.
Yeah.
So your bracket has to be locked in by Saturday. You pick every NFL playoff game, what you think the outcome is going to be. There's a point system, and I don't think we do winner take all, but I think we do first and second place.
Probably.
Yeah. But we did it last year. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had never done playoff bracket before. Love the boxes.
Yes.
Give me all the boxes. I love boxes.
I was thinking about a strategy yesterday. So the lowest amount you can win is $250, at least in our boxes.
Yeah.
Right. So in each box is $20.
Yes.
If I get 12 boxes, that's $240.
Correct.
Then I have a 12% chance of winning every single quarter.
Okay.
If I win 2 quarters, then I could be up.
That's right.
And even if I just win 1 quarter, I'm up $10.
So I thought about this a few years ago because I probably spent too much money on boxes. Maybe I was in for like $360 and I hit a quarter. And so I won $250.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I won. And I'm like, no, I lost. I'm actually down money.
Yeah.
So my whole strategy at this point, if I'm doing $20 boxes, like across all of my boxes, I never want to be in for more than that $250. Like, what's the minimum amount that you could win? Because then winning doesn't feel like winning if you've overextended yourself on that front.
Does Paige ever tell you that you have a gambling problem?
No.
When do you feel like you get to that point that you can consider yourself you have a gambling problem?
If I was ever spending money on gambling that was affecting my life or ability to live.
Okay. So let's say you placed a bet every single day.
Yeah.
Because you just like that feeling, like the dopamine release.
I don't feel that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I do all the time.
You do.
But,
I don't feel that.
So let's say you placed a $5 bet every single day. One day you win, one day you lose, one day you win, one day you lose. At the end of the day, if that happens, you always break even.
Okay.
Right? So you're not losing money, but you're gambling every single day.
Yeah.
Do you consider that kind of person having a gambling problem?
If the losses add up and you're like, I can't make my mortgage payment this month, then I would think that you have a problem.
That's the point that you think you have a problem?
Yeah, like if it ever affects your life.
So it's not the frequency.
No, because like I know how much money you are actually betting on the games, and they're low dollar amounts. Like if you added a 0 to your bets or added 2 zeros to your bets, and you had a bad week,
I would not make my mortgage.
You would not make your mortgage payment. Yeah. I would sit you down, Kevin, and be like, we need to talk about your life and what you're doing with your life.
Yeah.
So, I've always had this strategy. I go to Atlantic City, $200. I spend the $200.
I think I'd rather go to Atlantic City with you and Mark than going to snowboarding.
Ooh, okay. We can make that happen too. We can make that happen. But like this is my limit. I'm going to win and lose, and my night or 2 nights is going to be dependent on this.
Okay.
I'm never going above and beyond this.
Yes.
And because I set boundaries and restrictions on myself, I never lose big.
Yeah.
That's
what my parents do too. When they go to like casinos, they'll bring a cash amount that they are comfortable losing, whether it's $100, $500, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they won't even bring their cards. They'll just
Smart.
bring that cash.
Yeah.
And they lose.
That's that. Yeah. But that's the right way to do it. When I was younger, 21, going to Atlantic City with my buddy, and he was just like a wild card. So he'd have these big swings, and I would be on the blackjack table with him, and he would be like up $800, and I would like reach over and take 500 off and put it in my pocket, like his money.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you can stop him?
Yes. And then he would go up another like 400, and I take another 200, put it in my pocket, and then he would go up again, and then he would lose it all, and then we would get off the table, and I'd be like, here's your $800, and he would be like, thank you so much.
Nice.
And he knew I was doing it, but like he didn't have the discipline to do that himself. He would have rather sat there with the pile of this, and then but would have taken it down to zero. And it's like, no, you took your winnings off the table.
Yeah.
And
what I'm hearing is every gambler should have that person in the back of
you need that person.
All right.
You got to have that person. Going back to the fantasy football, congratulations to Sully. Sully won the championship this year. Going to get his name put on the CAP Physical Therapy Fantasy Football Trophy. And congrats to him. I'm upset I lost to him, but Sully knows ball.
Yeah, that's true.
Sully knows ball.
Last year he told me that he paid for his engagement ring off of gambling.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
That's wild. I can't imagine that. That's not a good strategy, Kev.
I didn't do it.
It worked.
I dished out the money. But.
Okay. Yeah, good. One thing I would like to talk on is, you're a dad now. I think all the episodes leading up to it, we talked about you becoming a dad, and now you're a dad.
Yeah.
You're a dad. You have a baby girl. 3 months in? What are we, close to 3 months?
Just over 3 months.
Just over 3 months. How's that going?
It is.
Baby sleeping?
No.
No.
It is absolutely amazing, and I think I've already said this on the podcast before, but someone told me that when you have kids, it's hard, but it's hard to not be without them, be without them.
Yeah.
And I definitely live with that kind of expression now, where like it's hard when I wake up at 3 a.m. and have to help, or 5 a.m. to help, or whatever. But when I'm here, it's even harder.
Yeah.
I know, like, there were moments where when the boys were young, you would go home during lunch break to see them.
Yeah.
And just this past Monday, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's a nice thing to be able to leave here, go there, even if it's just for an hour.
Yeah.
Come back and, get your little baby fix on.
Yeah.
Like you, because it's hard. It's hard.
One thing I would say, and I might like end off the baby conversation here, but growing up, you've had people call you their best friend. You've called other people your best friend. You've called your mom, your dad. They've called you son, whatever. You're used to those terms.
Yeah.
Growing up, no one's called you dad.
Yeah.
So then now that you have 3 people calling you dad, that is, and I think about that, like, in a year from now, someone's going to be calling me dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa.
So I'll tell you what just recently happened was the kids grow up and they call you daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And recently my twins stopped calling me daddy and started calling me dad.
Mm-hmm.
And like that just hits way different.
Really?
It's just like a sign of them growing up, a sign of them like daddy, like little kids call their dads daddy.
Yeah.
And then you become dad.
Yeah.
And I just even remember right when they were born, I'm like, how am I someone's dad? That blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's such a foreign concept, but it's wonderful.
We think it's to that point where it's not dad, it's pops.
Bro. I get the bro every once in a while. Pops is cool. I don't hate it. So I think we're going to kind of wrap it up here. I think this was a good way to kind of get back in to doing this. I really enjoy when we do this.
Yeah. You want to talk about the referral?
Yeah, we could talk about the referral. So we are going to be implementing from January 1st till February. Anybody who recommends or refers a patient to CAP Physical Therapy will get their name put into a drawing for a free month of a red light therapy. Especially this time of year, people aren't outside exposed to the sun as much.
Yeah.
The red light therapy is a awesome modality just for overall health and wellness. If you're dealing with inflammation, again, we've used it to help heal muscle tears and things like that quicker.
Yeah.
It's a great tool. And at this point, we probably have the most amount of people subscribed to the monthly membership of red light therapy. And I know I love how it makes me feel, and all the benefits I get from it.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to see that people are taking advantage of it.
And it's $150 value.
Yeah.
I feel like if you get this opportunity, you're gonna use it very often, and then you're gonna see the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Especially because you have to be using it for an extended period of time to kind of start to feel a little bit better.
Yeah. You do red light with Sage.
And
Yeah.
Our whole room is red.
Yeah. Every time you guys take pictures of it, it looks so cool.
She stares at the red light, and sometimes I have to turn it off because that's what keeps her up sometimes.
Yeah.
Because she's like fixated on it.
Yeah.
If I turn her head around, she'll like, where to go?
Actually, before we got the red light therapy here, and I was listening to a podcast, and they were basically talking about red light and the red light beds, red light therapy. But they were diving deep into different frequencies of red light, and red light is actually not supposed to be good when you're sleeping.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Why is
so like it has something to do with the frequency and our bodies. I'm not going to say this right, but it has something to do with like. I was paying attention to it because our boys had night lights in their room.
Yeah.
And they were like Mario, and they were different colors.
Yeah.
And after listening to that podcast, like red light was not good for sleep. Blue light was better for sleep.
Interesting.
Yes.
So I saw something regarding all that, how everyone's talking about red light, and red light is great. But they have blue, they have yellow, they have green too.
Yes.
And they all have different properties of what they enhance.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see that being a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So love red light therapy. It's great modality, great thing to have here. But besides that, we'll see you guys next week. All and good job. Good episode. 2025. Later.